We are Makilala TV, the first Filipino-American TV talk show in the New York metro area. Get to know us as we talk to the community leaders, innovators, advocates, and emerging artists who affect Filipino-American life.
Hello, my name is Cristina Pastor. On behalf of my co-hosts, Jen Fuhrer and Rachelle Ocampo, welcome to Makilala. Remember the mesmerizing opening scene in La La Land, where people come out of their gridlocked cars to dance and jump along a California freeway? That is one of the most memorable Hollywood movies for me. It is comparable to Forrest Gump, where Tom Hanks runs from Alabama to the West Coast to the East Coast and back again. Or Singing in the Rain, where Gene Kelly tap dances under an umbrella in joyous abandon. Today, Tinseltown resembles a ghost town. It is desolate, dark, and idle. COVID has turned off the lights in Hollywood, making us wonder with a touch of whimsy and maybe a little bit of desperation if they will ever make movies again, and when. Today, Jen, Rachelle, and I proudly welcome our guests, a journalist couple who know Hollywood so intimately, like it is their second home. Ruben Nepales and his wife Janet Nepales are longtime officers of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, which produces the Golden Globe Awards. They are both award-winning journalists for their coverage of the entertainment industry. Ruben's columns appear on Rappler, and Janet writes a column for Bulletin Today. Welcome to Makilala, Ruben and Janet.
Hello, how are you, Krian? Thank you for inviting us.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Krian. Good to see you.
Yeah.
And Jen and Rachel, good. Thank you for having us on Makilala.
Okay, great. Thanks. Let me ask everyone in this panel, what was the last movie you saw in a movie house before the coronavirus struck? Jen?
Really bad. The last time was Wonder Woman. That was like 2017.
And 2018?
I think that was 2017, the first Wonder Woman.
So you've been watching on Netflix all this time?
With pay-per-view, you pay your rent or you buy the movie. I mean, really bad. Sorry.
What about Rachelle?
Mine was actually Parasite. It was a special edition where they just won the award and they had a special theaters that hosted it. I was like, oh, let's support Parasite. So I actually paid full price to see it on screen.
What about Ruben?
It's two movies actually in one day. A Quiet Place 2 and Mulan 2, and both of those movies became casualties of the pandemic. Their release were.
You watched them in a movie house, not in a screening, huh?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. What about Janet?
Well, I was with him, so we watched the same movie. So it was A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place 2 and Mulan 2. First watch A Quiet Place, and after that we went to watch Mulan 2.
Oh,
wow.
So in my case, my last movie was The Farewell by Aquafina. We saw it in a Beijing theater around the time of the Chinese New Year. And the following day, China shut down because of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
So Ruben, tell us what Hollywood is like today.
Well, as you said in your very nice introduction, Hollywood is dark these days. Even Mickey Mouse on Hollywood Boulevard is begging. Usually, these people who dress up as characters are having a hard time too because the tourists are gone. So so they usually make a lot of money, but now they're making less because the tourists are gone, or at least there are very few tourists now, and the film productions are also gone or stopped. And there are carpets usually in Hollywood Boulevard, for example, are like a thing of the past, but I'm sure it will come back later on.
Yeah. So Janet, tell us how you and Ruben got started in Hollywood. I know that both of you were entertainment writers back home. And then when you came to the States, how did you, was it your plan to just to continue becoming entertainment writers? That's
Yeah,
how you.
yeah, we've been writing entertainment ever since, and most of our contacts in the Philippines knew that we came to the US, and they invited us to junkets to attend some junkets, and Ruben and I started attending junkets. And then after that, Ruben applied for the Hollywood Foreign Press, and then I followed. And long story short, we've been there for more than 10 years now, and we are now officers of the HFPA, and we're doing it now regularly. So.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, not a lot of people have that such success. So hats off and thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
So who was the first celebrity that you interviewed?
I was about to add to what Janet said that we're dating ourselves now. Our first interview was Lindsay Lohan, and how old was she? Maybe she was only 10, maybe?
Probably.
She was a kid for the Parent Trap.
Parent Trap.
Oh, that's one of my favorite films.
She was this, she was this very cute, freckle-faced little girl. And imagine what happened to her. I mean, the transformation into a mature actress. So whenever we see Lindsay Lohan, I actually think of our starting days in Hollywood.
Yeah, that was the first official junket, but our real first interview was with Kenny G. We went to his house and we interviewed him there before the house got burned.
Yeah.
So we saw the house before it got burned with Kenny G, the jazz musician.
Kenny G, the sax player?
Saxophone.
Yes, the saxophone
That was
player.
our first.
Yeah.
The first.
Yeah.
I think Rachelle has questions about the celebrities that you have interviewed.
No, I wanted to ask, out of all the celebrities and influencers that you've covered, who surprised you the most and why?
Surprised in like, I was surprised that all of them are normal people. You know,
Normal.
like Meryl Streep, when we interviewed Meryl Streep, she was thinking of what to cook for dinner. She's worrying about her daughter going on a plane without her passport. She's thinking about her husband who forgot their anniversary. So those kinds of things that you realize that these Hollywood stars are just like us. You know, they worry about the same things like what we do, you know. So, and
before the pandemic, you would go to their homes and interview them, right?
no,
Mostly.
not
necessarily.
really. No, we went on a trip and then we interviewed them or we stay in Los Angeles and they come to the hotel and we interview them. But during the times of our older members, they went to the house of Marilyn Monroe and, you know,
Back in those days.
Back in those days, yes, they did. So they saw them in their regular house clothes, you would say.
Yeah.
But there are movies that I heard that they are going to be released. I'm hoping first movie theater, James Bond and Dune. I mean, I follow you on Facebook and usually do the interview like a press conference or something. Now that doing COVID, how do you do the do they still reach out to reporters? How does it work?
Well, speaking of going to homes, now we do it via Zoom like this or via Blue Jeans. So in a way, we'll actually get to see the stars in their homes because oftentimes we do the interviews now via Zoom. So they get to be interviewed in their homes. So we get to see somehow a pic of their homes finally, you know. It's nice to see them in their so quote unquote natural environment.
Yeah, so all the interviews via Zoom, they are wherever they are quarantining, they are also meeting us via Zoom. So sometimes even their babies are crying in the background, or they show the babies or their pets, you know, or they tell us like, oh, here's my wife and I love her so much, you know. So you kind of peek into their homes and what their homes look like.
Yeah. Or they actually put their feet up too. They're so comfortable, you know.
Like Sharon Stone.
Yeah, Sharon Stone has her feet up.
She was so comfortable. She's putting her feet up while during the interview, you know, very relaxed, you know. And then you go to Ringo Starr's house and then you see the backdrop
Beatles.
of what he has in his home, like some of the mementos that he had from the Beatles, his posters, his guitars, or the library of Oliver Stone and his collection of books. looks like a library, you know.
Yeah.
So you peek into their homes, like which is a good thing for us to describe when you write the articles.
Yeah, it made actually me drool just looking at all the books in Oliver Stone's home, like shelves and shelves of books. It made me want to go to his house.
So do you guys have the contact information of all these celebrities? Like anytime you want to contact them, or do you go through a publicist before you go through the celebrity?
Yeah, well, it depends. We have the contact information, and we can also arrange our interviews, exclusive interviews. But most of the time, they also contact us because they have a movie coming out or a TV show coming out. So they schedule our interviews with them. And also, depends on their schedule, whether they're in London or New Zealand or Australia, they arrange that. So if there's a time difference and their availability. So it depends on what we want.
Are you guys on a first name calling basis with George Clooney? Hey, George.
Of course, George. I'm on first basis with George. My boyfriend.
What about you, Jackman?
Okay, we are now starstruck here. Okay.
Of course. I'm the first one he kisses when he sees me.
Aww. You need an intern?
I saw proof of that. That's what Hollywood is like. I mean, movie productions are suspended right now. So how are people making a living?
Well, the stars finally have some time to themselves. Like Charlize Theron, always quotable. She was honest enough to say that, I love my kids, being with my kids, but I can also wait to, get some time off for myself. And she's been homeschooling them. And she said that she's a very bad math teacher. So she said she has a newfound appreciation for teachers. She said she can't wait to send her kids back to school. I mean, we know she loves them very much, but Charlize is always very honest, and she said she can't wait to send them to school because she's finding out she's a very math. And her 8-year-old daughter said, "You're a very terrible math teacher."
And I want to add to that also, Eva Longoria learned how to cook. She loves cooking, and now she's cooking a lot. And then Daniel Radcliffe is doing Legos.
Yes.
He made a Jurassic Park Lego. Can you imagine that? And then Liam Neeson is going back to reading. He's reading like 30 books this time.
Wow.
Going back to the books that he
So
loves.
these are people who can afford to take a break because they probably have so much money. But what about the rank and file, the camera people, the technical people? How are they?
Well, that's the sad part because we have these stars have the money, they have the savings, but these regular people, the poor, these people. I think some of them have found alternative means of livelihood, or I don't know how they're coping because you're right. I mean, these people, I'm sure, lived, most of them on a day-to-day basis. Now, all these productions have started. So you're right. It's really a cause for worry.
And some of them try to reinvent themselves, like the stylists are doing something else aside from doing the styling, like they help people create some mask or, promote the designer's mask or something. They're trying to reinvent themselves or doing an online job or an online project, And also Mark Ruffalo, because he knows he's in a good way in a business that he's doing well. He is sending checks to some people that he loves and he knows that are suffering, the people that
like he's supporting them.
Yeah. And on his own, he creates like care packages, and then he even sends a little check to them, and it's really nice of him to do that on their own. And I know Sean Penn
has his community relief organization called CORE, and he's been organizing free testings. He started in LA, and now it's
Sean Penn, who just got married recently, right?
Yes, yeah. So it's free mass testings. He's been responsible for that. And it's back to Eva Longoria, she's aware that a lot of the Latino population are the ones who are disproportionately affected by the COVID-19. So she's been trying to help them through with her foundation.
So all of these stars, they have their own foundations and they try to reach out to the COVID victims and do their own testings or opening labs. So, which is nice of them.
Both of you have covered a lot of celebrities. What's your advice for new artists who really want to make it big in the film and TV industry now that it's post-COVID? So what can they do to succeed? I mean, they still have their dreams and they're still waiting to be the it person. So what can you give them as an advice?
Well, I'll start with something practical. They have to wear masks. Let's start with that. Because literally it's survival. They have to be aware of all the safety protocols, because it's a real concern. So I think that's a main concern. And
are there still auditions happening?
With film productions on pause. I mean, it's really hard these days, especially for struggling actors, to find jobs.
I think they should also learn how to use the internet. Today, marketing yourself is very important through social media and using like YouTube channels to promote yourself or your song or even your movie. And some have been creative, like using YouTube as a platform to be known or to even have a TV show, like Sarah Cooper, so the one who is doing the Trump thing.
Yeah, they can make their own short films now too, because they can't wait. They shouldn't wait. They can make their own short films with the technology available. And they can also start writing, because, as most of us agree, Filipinos and other minorities, we need to also write material for ourselves, because otherwise no one else will.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, what about Netflix, Ruben, Janet? Is Netflix going to be the alternative to the studio films?
Well, Netflix is the one that's making a lot of money these days. Because people are watching Netflix,
in the entertainment world.
Yeah, because a lot of films that were supposed to be shown in theaters, they're now resorting to turning to Netflix, or any voice films on demand, because they don't want their films to go stale or to just be sitting there. So they have to do something. So most of them now accept the reality of maybe their films being shown on Netflix or HBO Max or Amazon.
Or Disney Plus and Showtime. This is not only Netflix. We have Hulu, Showtime, Disney Plus, right, HBO Max. So these platforms are making the killing, So everybody's trying to go there.
Go ahead, Rachelle, you have a question.
Going back to like your roots and how you came into where you are now, are there any instances that you being Filipino has helped you in your role today? Or maybe even just being Asian, but specifically Filipino, has it actually helped you?
Well, in my case, when I applied with the Hollywood Foreign Press, they didn't have any Filipino journalists. So in that case, I think that worked for me, because they needed a representative from the Philippines. So I became the first Filipino journalist to join the association. So in that case, that was the opening door for me, because they didn't have any. So I'm very proud of that fact and to represent the Philippines in the association.
So it's
and I'm very proud to be the first Filipina representing the Philippines in the Hollywood Foreign Press, and opening doors also for other journalists like Asians who would like to join. And sometimes we realize they don't know much about the Philippines, and you're shocked that they only know about Manny Pacquiao. So that's all they know. So it's good that Ruben and I are there, so we can educate them that we also make films in the Philippines. And Oliver Stone, when we interviewed him, he only talked about the Philippines because he was there for Platoon and Born on the 4th of July. So most of our interviews were on the Philippines.
That's right. Yeah.
I think that's the key thing that you said, is that you open the doors for others. And it's so critical that as you being the first, that you pave the way for others to come in. So that's great to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. We're always part of the fact that any ceiling, any glass ceiling that we break on behalf of the Filipinos or our other minorities, we should do that. Anything that any doors that we can open, we should do that.
And also because Ruben and I are there, we also help promote our Filipino-American actors like Darren Chris or John Briones and other people.
I'm sure they appreciate your presence there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What happens, Ruben and Janet, what happens to the Oscars and the Golden Globes? Will they still be happening?
Well, it's a wait and see attitude that we have adopted, because we thought by now that pandemic will be gone, but as you know, it's still going on. So I think I can say that the Emmy Awards, which is coming this September, will be the one that we're watching as a model. Maybe if the pandemic's still happening in January, February, maybe that's the one that will model our show after the Golden Globe show, because we'll see how they do it. Because right now, for example, even the Tony Awards will be a virtual show for the first time. So it's a lot of wait and see attitude.
But we have our dates ready. February 28th is supposed to be the Golden Globes. It's not January anymore, it's February, so we have more time. Yeah, more time for the stars and the movies to get in and to prepare for it. And hopefully by February, we will be able to have the real Golden Globes and I can wear my gowns and we can go to the red carpet.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
Do you see it happening virtually on a Zoom format? Do you
That's
see
what we're planning. That's our plan B, because we already have our grants thing that's supposedly it happens every like a dinner thing, and now we're already planning virtually a grants dinner thing, something.
To explain what Janet is saying, every year we have what we call a grants dinner. HFPA we are very proud of the fact that we do give away millions in grants to institutions, scholarships, charities, and we do like a grants dinner. And obviously we can do that this year, a real in-person one. So we're doing it via Zoom. So it's going to be interesting how we're going to do it virtually.
This is the first time, and we're inviting all the stars also that we usually invite, but they're going to be in Zoom.
Yeah.
They might perform live or tape or pre-recorded, but they're going to put them together and have a nice show for everybody.
That is probably less costly than having a big event.
Yeah.
But I hope it's still
there'll be more money for donations.
Yeah. So do you see the
I have a
superstars cutting down on their talent fee, because of what's happening?
What was the question again, Korean?
Do you see the big name stars sort of cutting down on their talent fee? Because there are not a lot of movies being made.
They know their value. They're not gonna.
I don't think so.
Is that ever happening?
What's that?
Do you see that ever happening?
Well, if it's I think probably some of them, but not all of them, because if it's for a charitable cause, then probably they will do it, but I don't think so.
I think Cristina want the talent to share their fees to the lower.
Nobody's making movies anymore, and they cannot command as much price as before.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Well,
right?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't see it happening yet, but maybe I'm sure down the road that will probably may happen, because they have to face the reality that lesser productions. So, but I don't see that happening right now, though.
It's not their fault about the pandemic too.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
So
I have a
okay, go ahead, Jen.
A trivial question, but very coming awards show, just in case it's gonna go live. So Janet, what designer are you gonna be wearing?
I always say it's a secret. Most likely it's a Filipino designer, because I want to promote Filipino designers, and most of them are really talented. So when I'm on the red carpet, instead of me asking them, who are you wearing? They're asking me, who am I wearing? They get excited to see what I'm wearing. And I'm very happy that I usually bring whoever designed my dress to the Globes, so they can also talk to the designer and meet them personally. And I love it that I'm helping Filipino designers promote their designs on the red carpet, because we have some of the most talented designers in the world.
Yeah. I was gonna ask a little bit of gossip. So what do you think is going to happen to Ellen DeGeneres?
Well, actually, that's a surprise too, because in her shows, Ellen is very open with talents from all races, right? So
Yeah.
it's a shock for me to find out that in her actual workplace there's a need for more diversity. So I think that's for the good though, because now she's aware that she needs to hire more people of color, I guess, and also that sexually abusive environment. I'm shocked to we were shocked to hear that, but I think she's addressing it now.
Yeah, she already revamped her production, and
That's right.
she wanted to meet with all her staff on a small number basis and talk to them what their issues are. So she became more aware of what's going on. I think she didn't know what was going on. So she has finally reached out to her staff.
Yeah, she fired the 3 executives who were being accused of sexual harassment.
That's right. Hey, I'm getting a signal that our time is up. Ruben, Janet, thank you for coming on to our show. You guys painted a scenario of Hollywood that is somewhat depressing and also exciting, because we're seeing that Hollywood is evolving into something different. Before we close, we'd like to ask, what kind of silver lining do you see for the industry? Do you see the industry coming back, and in what form?
Yeah, well, I think the industry will come back, and in whatever form we can adjust, and we're flexible. Like this Zoom thing, we didn't imagine that this would be happening, and they're doing it. And some of the films are already doing it too, and they're reinventing themselves. Like some of Reggie Lee's TV show, All Rise, and they made it like a COVID thing. So, some people are adjusting. So
that's right. Yeah.
I'll answer you on a personal note. You guys will be the first to know this. The silver lining for me is that during the pandemic, I wrote a book. I'm coming out with my second book. So this is the first time ever.
This is a scoop.
This is a scoop for you guys. Yes. Because of the pandemic, I suddenly had time to gather all the pictures I've been taking of the stars and search for the quotes to go with them. So it's a big coffee table book. So because of the pandemic, I finally had time. I would never have had time to do that. So this is a scoop for you guys. I think this one comes out by that time that book will be out. Yes.
Wow.
And I learned a lot.
And by the way, the name of the book is Through a Writer's Lens. So the name of the book is Through a Writer's Lens.
Thank you. On that
When
final
is it coming out?
We're hoping by September. By September.
Yeah, it's a pandemic baby.
Yeah, it's a pandemic baby. And,
we'll look forward to that.
Through a Writer's Lens on Facebook.
So I would like to thank Janet and Ruben, and my co-hosts, Jen and Rachelle, and our production team here at Manhattan Neighborhood Network. There will be better days, folks. Ruben is writing a book. We will be looking forward to that coming out in September. We will be returning to what's left of movie houses. COVID is not forever. Thank you for watching.